Hello, everyone. My name is Melissa Spigelman. I am a second year graduate student studying molecular biology at Montclair State University. And I am so happy to say that I just completed the IRIS 2024 Japan Fellowship. Now, at home, my research focuses on using the isoprotein as a potential non-invasive treatment to melanoma, and also investigating ICER's role as a potential way to increase fertility in zebrafish models. Now, in Japan, things were a little different. I was no longer working with Dr. Carlos Molina in his lab, and I switched over to Dr. Noriyoshi Sakai's lab, which is in the National Institute of Genetics in Mishima, Japan. So there I had the task of trying to culture zebrafish testicular cells, which is a lot more challenging than it sounds. And I did face a lot of those challenges. I had repeated contamination, constant. And I told myself that the journey might be grueling, challenging, it might feel impossible. But when you reach your goal, you're going to feel on top of the world because of how difficult it was to get there. So I kept pushing forward, and eventually I was able to culture those testicular cells, harvest sperm from the petri dish, and perform artificial fertilization using that sperm. And bam, I was able to produce embryos. So all in all, it was a success, and I am so thankful to Dr. Sakai and his lab. Now, Japan was so much more for me than just science. I also conquered a lot of my fears. Before going to Japan, I really felt like I wasn't going to be able to make it through my experience there. Because here in the US, I lean so heavily on my friends, on my family, my coworkers. There, you don't have that. So I was very concerned for me and my mental health, but I learned how to love spending time with myself. I started exploring temples and shrines alone, biking to the mall or to random stores or to new places to eat, to try new things alone. I started to crave time by myself and really start to enjoy being with me. And that's not something I thought was even possible for me. So that was one of the most transformative experiences, but I also made great friends while I was there. The people that I came with from Japan, there were five other members of my cohort, were all spectacular. And I'm so happy we got to go through being in a new country together for the first week that we were all in the same area. But I also met people from Japan and from across the world that really warmed my heart and made me understand that sometimes you're not going to have all of the words to have a conversation, but you don't need that. You could share body language, experiences, just time together in general. And that's enough to have a good interaction with another person. I dove into the culture. I wanted to experience the shrines and the temples and the energy that comes along with them. And let me tell you, you feel so different in those locations. Like you feel this calmness wash over you. And for me, also so much awe because you look around at these monuments, these pillars of worship that have been around, some for centuries. Thousands of years they've been standing and they look beautiful, gorgeous, the craftsmanship, attention to detail, the perfection. And you think that these people did this with their bare hands. They didn't have the technology, the automation that we have today. And you wonder how they could have possibly done this, built up the effort, the strength, the courage to build something that magnificent. But then you think about the Japanese people, how they want to create an environment that is for everyone to enjoy for centuries to come. How they're willing to sacrifice for the community because they view the community as more important than the self. But when all of these selves come together, you see the amazing things they can accomplish. If I could describe my experience in Japan in one word, I would have to say transformative. I feel like I hold the memories and the people that I met there and that I shared there so close to my heart. And I want to give a thank you to the National Science Foundation for funding this program so I could spend 3 months in Japan. Thank you to Dr. Carlos Molina and Dr. Mika Munakata for creating the grant and for guiding us through Japan in that first week when we were all together. It was so great to share all those memories with you guys and for you to help us learn how to take the bus, the taxi, the train. Thank you to Dr. Noriyoshi Sakai and the rest of his laboratory, especially Dr. Yukiko Imani and Fabian Vehila, for making me feel so welcome, so okay to ask questions, to take up space, to be a part of this lab. And thank you to the people of Japan who always showed me such immense kindness. Thank you for always being willing to help me.